Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Marvel, where authenticity lives and thrives to create a space of growth, healing, and joy. I am your host, Andrea Lawful Sanders, and each day we will cover the topics that are informative and engaging while learning from each other. Good morning to each and every one of you. It is Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. I cannot believe we are absolutely here. Copy and Paste will be celebrating a birthday soon, and they will be 3 years old. I cannot wait to see them. Good morning, Bobby. Good morning, my darling. How are you? Still in my hat week because my hair, ooh, baby, I am this close to cutting it all off. I'm telling you. So we have a guest this morning, someone who I've known for a while, who I believe is doing something phenomenal, and so I wanted to interview her. Adunde is also this weekend. Bumi is really, really busy. We've been working to get a live broadcast with her, no matter what time of the day or evening it is, so that you all can hear about the 50th celebration of Adunde. Many of you will be there. Millions of people will be there. There's 16 blocks. 16 blocks of vendors and food and all the things. So the money that you're not spending to buy a ticket to go, because it is absolutely free, you can take that money and get yourself something. Buy from Black folks, right? It's all, I don't think I've ever seen anybody but Black vendors there. There are a couple of juicing machines, etc., that are owned by other people, but just go enjoy yourself. And the other thing is, Raheem will be there, and Dougie Fresh, right? So Raheem will be on the stage at 5:30. Dougie Fresh will be on at 7. And so we are super excited about having a good time. And the weather promises to be absolutely wonderful. So, we have things to look forward to. When is your birthday, Alexandra? Let me know. The twins are next week. So let me just tell you today, officially today, many of you, those of you who have subscribed, free or not, you got your first episode of the A.Lawful Truth podcast, which is always me opening the season. So it's now officially season 3. When I tell you these episodes are going to knock your complete socks off, I cannot wait. I've already begun culling who I'm going to have for season 4. So as season 3 is going, I am working to make sure that I'm interviewing folks for season 4. So it may seem like it's a little while. I try to give my team June 12th. You're not far from copy and paste. Happy birthday when it comes. I'm sure I'll see you. The season in between seasons, because we work so hard. And I must give a great big thank you to Sarita Martin, Eric Nixon, Denise James, and Hania Sharp Brown. That is the entire team. And they are a stickler for all things that must be Marvel, right? And so even when I am just like, oh, we can't just do that like Marvel, no. There's a certain way to do certain things. And we understand that you're busy. And this is why we ask people to come through us, so that you're not always the one that they're tagging on. So, and my producer, my content producer for Mornings with Marvel. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 folks working with me at this point. And I also have a producer that's a live producer that goes with me when I go to events to do live broadcasts. So that's 6 people. I don't know how I went from 0 to 6, but we're here, right? And I'm really grateful, and that the funding is there to pay them as we move along, because we have sponsorship. We have people for those of you who have subscribed, we thank you, the paid subscribers. We cannot thank you enough, because you have allowed me to be able to continue doing what I'm doing, to bring you the content that you deserve. And so this morning at midnight tonight, last night, many of you, all of you, got the first episode of Good Morning Winetta, got the first episode of season 3. And so as I am moving about in the streets and talking to folks, good morning, Monica, Shaquilla, Laura, and Alexandra. Nakia, Melissa, you're all here. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow. And Bobby. Um, as we're moving along, as I'm moving in the streets, I am calling the kinds of interviews that I want to have. So don't be surprised if I tap you randomly and I say, this has happened to a couple of people for season 2. They were like, wait, what? If I tap you randomly and say, I'd like to interview you because I see something in you that people should hear. Rapper Freeway is now following me on Instagram. And so we see all the things that he is doing. So we're getting great conversations out of people. It is this month belongs to fathers. We are deliberate in the A.Lawful Truth podcast that the month of June we will have men. We will talk to men about the different things that are going on with them. The first episode, this the one that's coming up on June 10th. Lord, I just need you to get ready, okay? And when it happens, to understand why certain things happen a certain way. And then the Father's Day weekend, we have another oh my God, I'm just, we spend a lot of time discussing in detail what happens to us as women, blah, 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 as we should, because women are the highlight of life. Life comes to us with the father's sperm, of course. And so for June, we really just want to highlight men in particular about the things that are happening. And so I'm excited about that. And these are great episodes. So look for the first one next Tuesday on June 10th. Of course, we have a media partnership with the Philadelphia Housing Authority, and that continues. There will be a few live broadcasts through them. And Kelvin Jeremiah, the CEO, will be on with me every other week to talk about the happenings at the Philadelphia Housing Authority. We're working through some other stuff. Just be patient with me. We're not trying to do everything at once. We're little by little. As you see now, the merch is coming. And so every day that we're on here, every time you subscribe and you pay to subscribe, it's not going into my pocket. I promise you, it's going into culling the kinds of conversations that you need, that you should get, that you deserve, right? It's important to me. Thank you for the hat. My hats, the majority of them that I wear comes from Lips Hats, a sister that was born in Britain. She lives here in Philadelphia and she makes the most amazing hats. And so just about all of the hats that I wore last week came from Lips Hats. And I mean, I've had them for years, but I would wear them every once in a while because Mofa's not spending any coin. I'm telling you, the coinage is just, because I have a business to run and I have people to pay. And so I want to make sure that they're okay at all costs. The guest that's coming on is someone that I just really, truly like. Actually, I love her. And we'll talk about that, as she comes on. But I've known her since we were pregnant with children. And I've watched her over the years, and, our children are now grown, and we'll get to talk a little bit about what she's doing now. And I believe it's a direct result of all the things that she's experienced throughout her lifetime to get to where she is now. So we'll talk about that. I'm trying not to give it away because, it's good stuff like that. And so let's get ready. Alexandra says, please, Mova, do something about men's health. 2 men I know died at home alone in 1 week. One was 60 and the other one was 55. So, Alexandra, and I'm going to get the nurse from Penn back in here. We have over the years, I've concentrated on men's health, but I was talking to another doctor yesterday, and I mean, I keep these things to myself. The folks that tells me things know that I'm not going to put them out in the public eye because I'm trying to protect them, right? So I was talking to another doctor yesterday who told me that a 27-year-old had a stroke, that lots of young people, 27, 30, 40, are having heart attacks and just dropping. No one is addressing why this is happening, A, and B, when they come to the doctor or they show up in the hospital and say, I'm having chest pains, they're not taken seriously because they're like, you're too young, you're 27, you're 37, you're, slurred speech, you must be drunk, instead of saying, let me go and check. So massive stroke, 27 years old. I knew a 27-year-old that died of a heart attack, just dropped dead. And my youngest son was talking about all of his friends where he lives now. There was about 5 or 6 of them that just dropped dead of heart attacks in their 20s. There is something going on here that no one really wants to discuss, and I'm not sure why, right? This doctor believes it's something that I'm not going to say yet, but I just need you all to be careful. If you don't feel well, I don't care how young or how old you are, say something. Say something. I remembered having these chest pains. We had come back from Hawaii, and I was having these chest pains, and I showed up, I went to work and then walked into the emergency room, and thank God I was okay. Right. Alexandra says Brian Knight's son died at 32 of stage 4 colon cancer. And then after COVID happened, I was getting these heart palpitations, like my heart was racing while I was sitting still or laying down, when I was visiting, when Copy and Paste was born, my son had to take me to the emergency room because I was like, something is wrong. And they were like, well, we have to do a workup of tests, da, 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 da. Nobody took me seriously. I went to my regular doctor and I said, my blood pressure is spiking, it's going up and it's coming down, and I'm not doing anything differently. And they were like, well, your blood pressure is normal right now, blah, blah, blah. Keep doing what you're doing. It was this one doctor that said, come to my office. It's going to cost you money because your insurance will not cover it. And they ran every blood, they even took my hair follicles, right? A urine sample, and ran a blood test that was so comprehensive. And that's when they found out that the protein in my blood had spiked to a point where I could have dropped dead of a heart attack and nobody would have known, right? So we have to force our physicians, tell our friends to talk to, if somebody doesn't look good. I was talking to somebody the other day and they had posted a picture of their son-in-law, and I said, tell him to go and get himself checked, right? Distended stomach, and it didn't look like a regular stomach from drinking alcohol. It looked like he was 15 months pregnant. And so when you see things like that, if your eyes start to change color to yellow, that's your liver. If just think through it and ask the questions. And if they don't want to answer you, find somebody who will, because it is important to our life expectancy. Thank you, Marguerite. Listen, honey, I'm always had to put on hats. I have to wear outfits to match the hats, right? Because it's a hat week again. So see, Laverne says, my husband just lost a cousin in his 30s from a heart attack, where people are just dropping and no one is asking the questions that says, why is this happening? And if they're asking, they're saying, well, it's just an anomaly. Well, thousands of them, right? So we have to figure it out. If you don't feel well, please. Laverne says, when I went in with chest pains, they kept me almost a week. I was hysterical. My doctor said they gave me princess treatment and it wasn't normal for them to do so. So please, Charmaine says, if it lasts longer than 7 to 10 days, I'm going to see my doctor. I'm proud of you all for doing this because something is happening. And you know how things happen and we don't talk about it, and years later they'll say, oh, when such and such happened, this was the cause and effect of certain things. But they wait generations later, long after we're dead and gone, to address it. And so we have to ask the questions. There are quite a few people out here with long COVID that almost died, that are still struggling to figure out how to live a normal life, because they're having, one of my friends who was a nurse, by the way, a nurse, it destroyed her heart. She's having all kinds of issues with her heart all last year actually, and she's still in that space where, and as a nurse, they stopped taking her seriously. She had all kinds of long COVID issues, just a whole bunch of them. And they didn't figure it out for a while because she thought she never had COVID. And then here we go, right? So ask the questions. It is your body. You have one stinky body. Make sure, and I don't mean it's stinky in a stinky way, but it's just a Jamaican term. You have one body. And so use your good God-given sense to go and say, I don't feel well. Something doesn't feel right. Women, when they're having heart attacks, it's shoulder pain, right? It's a stiffness in the neck. It's just this general feeling of indigestion. It doesn't happen the way it normally happens with men. And so if you have shoulder pain that's not from exercising, etc., and it just will not go away, or a neck pain, go to a doctor and make them take you seriously. I have a list of doctors. I started this when I was at the radio station, and I called a list of Black doctors and not Black doctors, because there are a couple of doctors in that list that are white, but they're good at what they do, right? And so when I trust you, I put the list together, and people would start to reach out to me and say, give me your list. And I would give my list. Now I hear the radio station has a list of Black doctors that they do. And I believe they got in trouble for it. So, because people were saying that it was racism, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know what the hell they were saying. But for me as the individual, I was taking my regular doctors and sending them to people. My one doctor said, my God, every other day somebody comes in here and says, Mother sent me. And this doctor is saving people's lives, looking at them and going, you need to do this test, that test, that test. And will even go further to call their regular doctors and say, you've got to do this. This person, I'm looking in their eyes and I can see they're about to have a heart attack. I'm looking in their eyes and I can tell you they have high cholesterol. I'm looking in their eyes. And so, but doctors like that don't exist much anymore. And I really work to make sure, and that particular doctor, I believe, saved my life, right? I am now 6 years into quote unquote being diabetic, but my A1C is normal, right? Without medication. I am asking you all to figure out how to take better care of yourselves because it is absolutely important. It's absolutely important. Laverne says we're talking through though and wondering if it is from the vaccine. Laverne, I don't know. Some folks say they believe it's much ado about nothing. Some folks say that it's just coincidental that so many people are dropping dead of heart attacks and strokes. I mean, it's just almost and people don't want to talk about it, right? But I did notice that Dr. whatever his name was got a pardon before Biden left the office. But there's questions. People are now, the vaccine makers themselves are saying that some of these vaccines will spike your blood protein, your protein levels. And so, this is what you need to do, blah, 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 blah. But in the moment when millions of people were dying a day, they were just like, take this thing. You don't have a choice, right? Until we build up herd immunity. So I don't know if that is the issue, but something is the issue. And we need to be able to have the conversations openly and transparently. Alexandra says, sit down with your elders and ask your family members about the family health history. That's the foundation. I absolutely agree. Good morning, David, Dolores, Melissa, and Winetta. I see you on Facebook. Yes. So I know in my family, particularly, hypertension and diabetes runs in our family. Like, it's a part of our DNA. So that's why you all think I'm in the gym to be cute. That's not it. It has never been it, right? And when I post every week, it's not to show you that I'm just working out. I literally am trying to make sure that you go and support this woman who is my gym instructor. Go and go into her gym and work with her, right? I'm always trying to make sure that small businesses get what they need. And so when I work out every week and I come on the air and I come on Facebook and I post it, it's because I'm supporting Audra. When I go to the chiropractor and I post it, it's because I'm supporting Dr. Victory. There's a method to my madness. This is not about vanity, right? And I also am letting you all know that it's not an easy thing to do, right? It's not an easy thing to do, to get up every other day. And when I'm not working out in the gym, I'm doing some other form of exercise another 3 days a week. So literally I only have 1 day off, truthfully. This morning it's painting again, just to make sure that I'm moving my body. And as we get older, we lose muscle tone and we lose estrogen. I'm talking about the women now. And it becomes difficult. And so every part of you hurt when you wake up in the morning. But the more we eat and not move, the more, go dancing, go do anything that you can to help. Good morning, Sharon Manka. Do anything that you can to move. And for the men, same thing, at 1 in 2 to 3 men get prostate cancer. Let me take a sip on that. So if you're going to the bathroom and you're having a trickle, if it hurts to go to the bathroom when you're urinating, if you feel like you can't get an erection when you would normally get an erection, go see a doctor. You do not have to do the digital exam in your anus anymore. There's a blood test. And if the blood test comes back, higher than normal, then you have to do the digital exam. But what does it mean? It's literally 15 to 30 seconds, right? But it can save your life. So many men get to a place where this happens and then life happens to them and they forgot to go back to the doctor. And then next thing you know, President Biden now has prostate cancer that has gone into his bones. We have had this conversation 1,000 times. There are zillion men out here that are on prostate cancer medication because they are they're going to die from their prostate cancer, right? It's spread, it's metastatic. And so that they're just not talking about it. They're trying to live life the best way that they can. This platform gives you the opportunity to have the conversations that we wouldn't ordinarily have. It is absolutely necessary. So when I get up in the morning, like, they keep telling me I'm trying to preserve my kidneys, right? Diabetes really rips at your heart, rips at your eyes, rips at your whole body. And oftentimes it takes years for it to manifest itself. So we think we're okay because we don't feel any different, but you do. If you eat something and your eyes start to get glassy, you go, oh, I can't eat that. If you want to eat, if you love cake, have a tiny slice and have that slice once a month versus having it every single day. This is what I'm talking about. So there's a discipline that is necessary. So I want to, like I'm doing my Jamaican food. I made some oxtails yesterday for a friend, and I had a couple of pieces left over. I had those oxtails with cabbage instead of with rice. If I order food from Shauna's or from A&A's or, my people, Andrea Walker and them, I go, give me one finger banana, one dumpling, and give me a whole heap of callaloo, so I put a lot of veggies in with my food. People may think I'm crazy, but I am preserving my kidneys. I'm preserving my body, right? And so now I am in a place where I understand fully what I can and cannot eat. I'm asking you to do the same thing. It is not cool to take the medication and continue to eat what you're doing. I've seen people on dialysis that I know is on dialysis that are consistently going into the hospital. And when I see them, they got a can of Pepsi and a bag of potato chips in their hand. Like, you've got to make the decision what is better for you in this moment, because it's not going to end well. And if you notice, the dialysis clinics are front and center across our neighborhoods. It's insane. It's insane. Marguerite says we have to be advocates for our own health. Even if the doctors say no, push for additional testing, even if insurance doesn't cover it. Absolutely. And Laverne says, and the doctors are just not paying attention. They're getting patients in and out, not checking them well. Absolutely. Alexandra says, I'm getting blood work done today for cancer genetic testing to share with my family, especially the maternal side, where it's a case study material. In that blood work that I did, Alexandra, where I paid, I think it cost me well over $1,000 to do this blood work. They checked for my cancer gene markers too. They checked for everything, autoimmune diseases, all of it, right? Laverne says, as a result of COVID, I get bronchitis at the drop of a dime. And now they ask me, do I have asthma often? The air is a mess too after the fire that had smoke in our air. Marguerite says, I have been pleased with every health professional you have recommended. But boom. And I'm not playing, because if I don't like them, if I get you're not right for me. Somebody texted me yesterday and said, I know you know everybody. Do you know this doctor? I said, no, but let me check with my doctor friends. Check with my doctor friends. They were like, yeah, she's cool, but she talks too much. So she's a really good doctor. Just ignore the talking, the chatter. I'll take the chatter if you're really good, right? Alexander says, you can ask your doctor about a CT scoring to check your arteries for plaque buildup. It's 5 minutes and you're fully clothed except for the bra. Look at that. Scary, Laverne says. Laura says, I'm seriously thinking of going to Dr. Burton to get a complete workup. He's a holistic doctor. We know who he is, and he heals many people. I may have to pay out of pocket, but it's worth it. Tiffany says, at Laura, me too. I've gone to Dr. Burton. I've talked to him. Yes, I've done some stuff that he has. I got 3 doctors that are holistic, that agree with each other on what's going on. So I know to work with your body. And remember, as you're getting older, your body is degenerating. And no matter how cute you think you are, your body is slowing down, so leading you on your way to get up out of here. So you just want to make sure that as you're getting up out of here, you're doing it as healthy a manner as possible. Laverne says, with my husband's ailments, I find myself listening to and watching him sleep and listening when he goes to the bathroom, especially with his kidney issues. Very good, Laverne. Got to pay attention. I did that with my husband. I was like, ooh, your stream seems strong. Or, ooh, your stream seems, since he's had the prostate cancer surgery, stream is very strong, right? But again, there's a cost, there's a toll for it. Marguerite says, posting our workouts keep us accountable also. I agree. I had a person I know casually ask me in an event why I haven't posted my workouts lately. Didn't know people were watching me that close. Oh, they do. Monica says, I'm in the gym to get off blood pressure meds. Yes, I am supporting a Black-owned gym in Glenside. Yay. I also take Zumba and line classes, and I am walking with hubby. Very good. You will see the health benefits from that. Laverne says, my son did Lent. He started back eating meat and said he was going back to the way he ate for Lent because he has felt horrible since he started back eating regularly. And remember, there's stuff in our meats, right? So just pay attention. Andrea, stop saying right. So pay attention to what you're picking up in the market. Please do. Please do. Marguerite says, and also don't be afraid to participate in clinical studies. Yes, definitely helpful to people that look like us. I am going to let Erica in. Hey, Hooch!
Let's go.
Malooch! Good morning, my darling. You got to raise your voice, Erica, because you're soft spoken, and turn up your volume.
Oh, it is. It's all the way up.
Okay, all right. So you're just gonna have to raise your voice as you talk because there are people listening on
Okay.
3 platforms live. Okay, don't let it
Okay.
frighten you,
Okay.
but they are here.
Too late for that. Too late.
Too late for that. Too late for that. All right, you're gonna be all right. It's with me, so you already know, right? So let me introduce you formally, and then I will tell people about our relationship. Erica Durant is the founder of Roar Consulting, a faith-based movement that helps women rebuild their confidence, identity, and voice. A transformational speaker, author, and ordained minister, Erica draws from over 2 decades of experience in leadership, mentorship, and ministry to guide women through the Roar framework. Rise, overcome, affirm, and reclaim. She's the author of multiple resources, including From Silence to Strength and I Am Special, I Am Loved, and recently launched Roar Rebuild, a 6-week experience designed to help women reconnect with God's truth and walk in healing. She's also a mother, grandmother, and a living testimony that your story does not end in defeat. I know Erica personally. Is it all right for me to share some of our story?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
So Erica and I met in Faith Fellowship. Was it Faith Fellowship International? Okay. Um, in the 90s. Jesus, we getting old. Dear God, on today. We were either pregnant or had little babies. So she has 3.
Boo.
I have 2 that I gave birth to. And we became friends. And in the very beginning in the 90s, Erica, quiet, shy, didn't say much. There were a couple of times when I just popped up at your house. I'm like, what's up? What's going on? So when I saw that you had done Roar, I said, oh, this makes perfect sense for me, right? Because I've known you for so long. Then I watched you. You had gone through a thing, right? You'll tell your story yourself. Then I watched you go to work because you hadn't worked for a while, correct? Were you working then, back then?
Mm,
That was way back in the
probably.
90s.
Yes.
But you got a really
Well,
good job at where I'm not saying where you're working now. You've been there for
mm,
for over what 2 decades now.
yes.
Then
20,
she then
almost 28 years.
Yeah, then she said she went and got her degree, child. I went to that thing and I was like, I made so much damn noise. I was like, okay, Jesus, because I know where you're coming from. Tell people a little bit about who you are and why Roar. Why Roar?
Yes. Um, like Andrea said, I have really struggled with low self-esteem, low self-worth for a long time. Like it really started as a child. Because in the heart and the mind of a child is foolishness. And so where it began for me was my sisters favored my mother and each other, but I favored my dad. And so I internalized that. I didn't understand as a child why don't I look like my sisters? I thought something was wrong with me. And that's kind of where it started, the low self-esteem and then just puberty, acne, I had big eyes, gap in my teeth, and you just start
Yeah,
internalizing all the things that you don't understand about who you are.
right.
And so really struggled for a long time. Like you said, became a mother. And so now that's compounding what's happening because I don't understand, well, where are my partners? Why am I by myself? It must be something wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is where the origin of where war started.
Yeah.
It's a framework. So it's rise, overcome, affirm, reclaim. Rise above the lies and the self doubt. Overcome the personal obstacles, the things that are getting in your way. Affirm your God given. truth, and then reclaim your authentic voice and purpose.
Yeah.
So it is a framework, but it's also a process. So rise is where you begin to elevate yourself above the lies, above the low self worth,
So stop,
above the
stop it,
low.
rise. Stop it, rise for a second. How did
Mhm.
you begin to elevate yourself above the lies? Because as you said, you didn't look like your mother. Your sisters are lighter skinned. They look different from you. You look like your father. You had a gap in your teeth. You still have a cute little gap in your teeth. You had acne that was terrible. Because I remembered you. Was it Dr. Graves? Was his name?
Mhm.
And so I want you to tell people so that they can understand why it is important to do your work that you did, because it is important. And so you had the acne, and then you were very quiet, you were shy. And I didn't know at that moment it was because of the way you saw yourself. So how did you rise above all those lies, those internal lies that because we loved you. You're one of the kindest people we have ever met. We envied you for your hair. You got this beautiful head of hair, but you didn't see all these things.
No. And to be honest, it's been recent that I've begun to do this work. I haven't always done it. And so in 2021, I was introduced to a pastor, Sean Strickland, out of Northwest Arkansas. And I began to follow her. She does a lot of work around mindset shifts,
Mm-hmm.
and she is um, a soul shift strategist. And
Mm-hmm.
so I began to follow her, and I joined one of her mentoring communities, Soul Shift, in 2023. And Soul Shift is just an intentional decision to align your soul, your mind, your will, your emotions, your intellect, your imagination with what the Word of God says. And she said two things that had me, um, that really sat with me. And
Mm-hmm.
this is where I began to understand, oh, something is not right.
Yes.
And the two things she said was number one, that we treat God like he's magic. He's not, he's supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
And the second was connected to that, that you have to be willing to participate in your own rescue.
You
And
have to
it
be
was,
willing to participate in your own rescue. My friend Laverne says, wow, Facebook has been recommending me to follow her. Been recommending her to follow you. And she says, I'm like, who is she? She is somebody. Wow. You just never know. Wow.
and, and so I began to understand, ooh, I'm losing my, can you still hear me?
It just dropped. It's all right.
I began to understand that I had been praying, I had been crying, but I really was expecting God to do it for me.
Right.
I
Instead of,
wasn't willing to do the work myself.
yeah.
And so, really understanding the mind, how your thoughts work, understanding that every thought that you have does not is not necessarily yours, because we get thoughts from our environment. Our environment is always working with us. Thoughts from culture. Your thoughts can come from all different places. Though
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that they're yours. Doesn't mean that they're true.
Mm-hmm.
So where is this lie that I'm not worthy, that I am not valued, that I'm not loved? Where did that come from? And what does the word of God say
Mm-hmm.
about who I am?
Right.
And so that's when I began to do the work.
And we do realize that when we internalize the lies, because our so does our mind think, so does our mouth goes, right? So whatever we say out of our mouths can cause us an issue unintentionally, and we don't even realize it. So we always have to speak life and then move with intention, right? So you were praying and you were asking God for certain things, but the prayer didn't match up with the actions.
Right. They're incongruent. And then I began to learn how to love myself. But I think sometimes we get that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Loving myself doesn't mean manis and petties and getting
Right.
my hair done. That's maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
Loving myself. How am I showing up for myself? How am I eating well? Am I moving my body? Am I drinking my water? Like those are the things. Am I keeping my doctor's appointments? What are the things that I want to
Yeah.
do for me
Because I would
that
tell you, make sure
yeah.
when you go to the doctor, call me so that I can remind you. You be looking at me like,
You did.
Yep.
You sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the
So
R. What's the O?
overcome.
Okay. So how did you
So
do that overcoming?
overcoming your limiting beliefs and their personal obstacles, the things that are standing in your way. And so that's what I began to do. I began to do the work through Pastor Sean's mentoring community.
Hmm.
And that was in 2023 and 24. I joined, she has a more intensive mentoring community called Inner Circle. And
Hmm.
so I joined that and just really, really taking the time to invest in me,
Yeah.
which other than when I went to St. Joe's is not something that I had done for myself or
Right.
believing that I was even worthy to invest in myself.
Yeah. So give me a limiting belief that you overcame as a direct result.
That I am not loved.
Well, who the hell told you that? Who told you
But
you were not
but
loved?
but when your mind and your thoughts are centered around a lie, then everything connected to that lie is how you live your life, whether it's true or not. Because
Not.
it's not,
Yeah.
it's a lie.
Yeah.
And so my children love me, yes.
Yeah.
And my pastor loved me, yes. And my friends love me, yes, but I didn't love me. And so I didn't
Yeah.
really believe that the love was true. Or I knew who I was as a mother, as an employee,
Yes.
as a member of a church. But
Yeah.
who is Erica outside of
Yes, yeah. Your sister is on here. She said, "You are beautiful. I'm still jealous of your hair." Girl, we all jealous of her hair. She can cut that hair off, and 2 minutes later, we were like, "Well, where all that hair come from?" Yeah, and Laverne says, "Wow, that's it." So this is when I tell you, if I'm curating and calling people to interview them on the show, it's because they're about something that will elevate the rest of you or give you food for thought. Alexandra says, "Mother, why is she stepping on my toes?" See, there are people who are, as you share your story, there are people who are identifying with it. So overcoming. What's the A?
that? A is affirming.
Okay.
So affirm your God given identity. And so as it's a framework, but it's also a process. So as you go through, you begin to rise above the lies and self doubt. You begin to overcome your obstacles. Then affirming is where you really step into who you are. Affirming, saying to yourself over and over again, when you said, "Can you come on my show to talk about this?" It it was almost as if I was trying to describe this. A doubt train came speeding through. Like, no, you can't go on her show. Who? How? Nobody's going to listen to you. Like immediately. And so you
Wow.
have to learn how to interrupt the thought. And for me, it's not enough to interrupt the negative thought with a positive thought. And I'm not saying positive thinking isn't good,
Mm-hmm.
but I learned through Pastor Sean to interrupt the negative thought with the word of God because
Mm-hmm.
that is what brings change.
Yes.
And so that
So because I learned about roar by accident. I'm gonna slap you for that in a minute, but we'll talk about that. Because you didn't call me and say, Marva, I have this whole new thing that I'm starting. I saw it by accident, and when I began reading about it, I was like, oh my God, this is really good. And I invited you. You just never asked. And I'm wide open for you, right? So I had to invite you. So how did you get over the self doubt? Because I, how did you get past the self doubt to come on here? What did you tell
I
yourself?
that it's a lie. If I didn't have something to offer, you wouldn't have invited me. Like
Right.
I know who you are and your work, and that it means that there is something, there is someone. Like you're promoting it because you know that that I know that there are women out here just like me who
Yeah.
struggle with self doubt, who
Yeah.
struggle with low self esteem, especially believers who can believe the word of God for everything else except for when it comes to themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, what are the things that you can do? What are the things that I can do to support them to do what I've done, the work that I've done? And it really is. I had to tell myself it's okay. I had to tell myself you are doing exactly what God has called you to do, and it's okay for you to go and talk about it. And so you have to, it is a constant. We never get to the point where we have, that's it. And we don't have to continue to do this work.
Yeah.
And by work, I mean recognizing the pattern and then beginning to interrupt because our mind, Pastor Sean teaches on the think and feeling cycle. You think a thought, it produces a chemical. The chemical produces a feeling, and then the feeling produces another thought. I don't know why I keep losing my.
It's right there. I see it. I see it. It's in your hair. It's in that beautiful, and the other one.
What is it?
It just fell in your beautiful hair. Did you find it? Well, you just lost the other one. Can you talk with the one?
Can you hear me?
No,
You can't hear me.
no. Mm-mm. So I mean, you sound like you're losing. Oh, it did not go in your cleavage, did it? So then look to see if it dropped somewhere down below. See it?
I
You
see
found it? Okay. All right. Alexandra says, baby,
that
this is a
necklace.
pod. Yes. Alexandra says, this is a podcast episode. It truly is. I need you to understand the value of what you bring to this world. I am just one person, but I've watched you over the years and I've watched your confidence grow in a way that has inspired me. I just need you to know that because I know you. Winetta Smith says, you're speaking to the old me. Thank you for the encouragement. I appreciate it. You didn't think it was, but it is. And I have quite an audience. So they're all listening, right? What is the R?
The R is reclaim.
Okay.
And that's where you begin to take ownership of who you are. And it affects how you show up in the world. And I show up different. You know.
Yeah. And you
I
show up
show up
different. Tell us an example of how you showed up differently.
example of how I show up differently. Other than today,
You all
I'm
don't
no
know.
longer,
For you
I'm
to
no
do
longer,
this, you are so
yeah,
you are so quiet and unassuming and shy. When you did reach out and say I can't do it, I was like, yes, I'm proud of her, right? So women, I want you to go work with her because I'm telling you, she's lived every single bit of what we're talking about right now. And so, Erica, from me to you, I just want you to be aware that I've watched your transformation. You have quietly suffered for a long time, for a long time. And I don't take it for granted when you call me out of the blue and you say, all right, let's talk about such and such. And we talk about such and such. And I check in, I sent you to Dr. Archima. Tell your story about Dr. Archima.
yeah. Oh my God. I went to Dr. Archerman and she looked into my soul. I was amazed by what she could tell me just by the eye examination. And one of the things, other than the high cholesterol she could see, but she also saw the stress. And at that time, I was in a very toxic work environment. And she said, I am telling you, you are on your way to a heart attack. You cannot endure, your body will not be able to endure that kind of stress.
Yeah. And I remember you
And
calling me and you were like, what? As I told you, she's the truth. She's absolutely the truth.
she's amazing. I recommend her to anybody I can think of.
Yeah.
And she really helped me to see what I needed to start doing. Um,
And have you been following her
gave
orders?
her, yeah, yes, ma'am. I am so much better at actually doing what my doctors recommend because I understand that that is how I love myself. And
Mhm.
I made a post a few weeks ago. I talked about this time in my life where I literally almost died because I did not understand that loving my children didn't mean I didn't love and care for myself. And I had normalized exhaustion. And what happened was I went and had some blood work done because our doctor wants us to have the blood work done before we come for our visit. So they're able to talk through what's going on. And so I had some blood work done on a Monday. We were off, it was a holiday. And Tuesday morning, the doctor was on the phone and he says, where are you? Strange question. I'm on my way to work. Why? He said the lab ran your test 3 times because they said there's no way that this can be right. Your hemoglobin is 4.8. Normal is between 11 and 13. He says you have to go to the ER right now. You need a blood transfusion. And even then, I didn't go because I knew I was anemic. I knew I had low iron. I said, let me call my GYN, see if I can get an appointment. Luckily, she had a cancellation that day, so that was her last appointment. I worked the entire day, went to the doctor. She said, okay, here's a hematologist number. You call, I call. Whoever gets the appointment first, call each other. I went home, cooked dinner, got the kids off to school the next morning, went back to work, and she called and said, I spoke with the hematologist. They said they cannot treat you. You have to go to the ER right now. And so I did. And everybody that came in there, every doctor, every nurse, every tech said, weren't you tired? Like we've never seen a person with a hemoglobin this low and living and doing the things that you're doing. And then I began to realize, oh, I normalized exhaustion when it wasn't normal. And that I thought I was being being a good mom. I'm taking care of my kids. And I'm going to work and I'm providing for them and I'm doing all of the things. And but I was ignoring me. And so now I don't ignore me anymore.
Alexandra, you are literally, people are on here. So Alexandra says, Marvel, this is a podcast for season 4. Please and thank you. So I'm going to have to interview you for season 4, because you have a story, and I'm going to in that podcast interview make you delve a little deeper into why you are here now doing this work, because I know the story and I'm going to make you share that story. Okay. um what's her name? Monica says, wow, a doubt train came roaring through, amazing imagery of words. I can't wait to share her. So people are going to share you. Alexandra says, I can honestly say that I am one of those women. There are days I don't see myself as God sees me. Jasenia says she's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Melissa says, how can we connect with her? Lord Jesus. See, Erica? Marguerite says, this is good. I needed to hear this morning. Tiffany says, I think I remember Erica during our COVID cooking classes with Mobile. Yes, she was
Yes.
on there. Yes, she was. Okay, now I got tears in my eyes. Oh, baby. Lena says, I was just thinking she sounds shy, but full of grace and wisdom. But her something is right on point. I don't know what you were trying to say. It's not me, girl. I don't know what your message. She says, but your message is right on point. Alexandra says, how can we reach her? You can pay me $5 and I'll tell you. I'm gonna tell you. Monica says, quiet, unassuming, shy, and powerful. You're a quiet storm. I hope you're soaking all of this in, ma'am. Yvette says, yes, I'm so proud of my sister and how she has done this work. She's about to blow up in this world. And yes, I love her hair. All of us are saying the same thing, right? Laverne says, the nuggets, loving my children didn't mean loving myself. Because Laverne, you understand that, right? Um, and she says, yes, Monica, the song Roar ain't it. This is Roar. Tiffany says, I love it. Yvette says, that's a whole word. Lena says, oh my God, I can relate to her. Are you listening to this? Are you
Yes.
soaking this in? Your
Yes.
journey was
And
not in
what I want
vain.
people to understand is that yes, ROAR is a framework and yes, ROAR is a process, but it's also my testimony.
And that's why we're going to interview you for season 4. Gather your edges, because we're going to share that story. Because I want it, when they really hear your story, they're going to fall the hell out. I promise you. Melissa says, wow, a walking blessing. Andrea says that normalized exhaustion. You get them there. Monica says, wow, I know that feeling to be true. Normalizing exhaustion. Wow. Laverne says, right, Melissa, I'm sending the friend request. Where can we find Roar? Can people sign up? I'm going to tell you all of that in a minute. I just needed her to share her story so that you all can understand why she's on here. Jasenia said, I just started following her on Facebook. Alexandra, I'm going back to work today after being pulled out of work last week due to exhaustion, mental, physical, and emotional. See how many people you helped this morning? Laverne says yes. So, how can they find you?
So you can follow me on social media
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook, Erica Durant. I'm Erica Durant on Instagram too, but I think it's Erica R. Durant. I'm also
Okay.
on LinkedIn. My website is in the process, but it's theroarconsulting.com is my website.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
be gracious, I'm still building it.
Okay. Okay. All
Right
right.
now, social media is where people can
Okay.
find me.
Is there an email that they can reach you?
Yes, the Roar Consulting LLC at gmail.com.
LLC at gmail.com. I need you to get a phone number too. Don't
Oh,
give out
two
your
six seven.
is
Oh,
that your private number?
no.
Okay, good. Go for it. 267.
Oh, Lord. 267 317 8833.
Your phone's they're about to call you. 267-317-8833.
Let me record everything.
Laverne says, this is why this is so powerful. It's more than an idea and a vision. You are Roar. And that's why I wanted you to share your story, because I didn't want people to think you just put together this platform and you were trying to do this. Your story, y'all, thank you for suggesting that she come on season 4. Her story is incredible. It is incredible. Shaquilla says she reminds me of someone who was dear to me, always there for someone else and did not know her value. Right? Gail says working through exhaustion is not normal. Wow. And Gail, stop it. You know it ain't normal. Melissa says, when you walk in your purpose, you help to set people free. God is taking you to another level. And that is where, because I have, I can't wait for you to share this story. I have seen you from the 90s, the where you are today. It's transformational. I saw you got Ira to do your makeup. I looked at that picture. I said, whoa, who this? Who is this? You would never want to be in pictures. You would always
That
stand
was
in the
the first
background.
time I ever had headshots. First time ever.
A couple weeks ago,
First time I ever had makeup done. First time ever.
and you chose Ira. Tell me why you chose Ira.
Because does your makeup. Hello.
Listen,
Because he's highly recommended by mother. That's why.
when I first met Ira Erica, which is why I wanted you on this platform, when I first met him, I said, you got to know that I want a clean face. You've got to be on time. Your brushes have got to be clean. Ira went on Instagram and researched my behind so he could know what to do, because he understood that this was a situation. And then he got on a bus and came to New York because I was at a national event and had to do a gala that evening. Ira showed up 45 minutes early. His brushes are always nice and clean. In fact, he doesn't use the same brushes on each client. He has a different set of brushes for each client so that, he's not transferring stuff. And he was so damn good. And I watched him. I said, Ira, I promise you, if you continue to do what I think you're doing, wherever I travel, I will take you. Well, I began posting about Ira. They saw that Ira was going to California. Ira was all over the place. Wherever I went, Ira was. Ira was just in Greece a couple weeks ago. He now has clients that flies him out. And when he comes to my house and to do my face, he just looks at me and says, Marva, I can't, when you put your head down and you do the work like you've been doing, Erica, this is going to take you to another level. You will quit your job because this will be your full-time mission to help people around the world. From where you are coming from, the self-doubt, all the things that I know that you had gone through to be here, to have this consulting firm, I almost fell the hell out of my seat because I know you. I know this took effort. I know this took courage, right? And there were so many people who would take advantage of you because they knew you would just quietly get the work done. I see you now choosing yourself. I see you now choosing what it is that you want to do, and people are going to be blown away because you've lived what you're talking about. I couldn't have you come on here and just talk about these 6 things without talking about what you've lived. And you barely scratch the surfaces. You barely scratch the surface. So when you get off here, email. And within the next 6 or 7 days, I'm going to interview you for season 4 of the podcast. Because I think people really do need to hear this. And I am so proud of you because what could have ended in your death physically, you have now regrown, replanted, and you're going to help a bunch of other women, which is exactly what we needed to have done. Woo, woo, woo. Alexandra says, Melissa says, when you walk in your purpose, you help to set people free. God is taking you to another level. Alexandra says, normalizing exhaustion. That hit me. I'm changing that today. Melissa, say it, Marvel. My God, it's absolutely true. Lena says, I'm in a power outage, so I know I needed to hear this message. Wow, wow. God, listen. I'm trying to tell you, and so I just want to thank you. Thank you, my darling. I have always been proud to be your friend. I've watched your children grow with my children. I see you when I talk, you know, um, you're like, what, 2 months younger than me? 3 months younger than me?
I am 9 months younger than you, ma'am.
Whatever, girl. Whatever. So every year for our birthdays, we holler out, hey, and it happened because we were together. And we one day, some many years ago, maybe over 12 years ago, and we were like, we getting old. And I said, hooch. And we like, scooch, malooch. And so we talk. This is one of what I would call a lifetime friendship because we've been our children are now 30 and 20. Yeah. And we've lost friends and friends have gone on by the wayside, but we remain true to ourselves. When you are authentic, this is what happens. I love you dearly. I didn't just bring you on here because you were my friend, because if it didn't have nothing to offer, wouldn't have been no conversation. But I know where you're coming from. I know where you're going because now you're finally beginning to understand prayer and work brings
Yes,
results.
absolutely.
Thank you, my sister. Expect your phone to blow up, okay? I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye, honey. Bye bye. Um, as she gets off, you trying to figure out how to exit? As she gets off, I want to, transparently share with all the people. Say, do you sleep? When do you sleep? Exhaustion is not a thing that I am embracing. When COVID happened, and that actually in 2015, I began getting off of every board that I was on, right? Because I was running helter skelter, doing this, doing that. And I was exhausted. And I kept remembering, I kept posting, oh my God, I'm so tired. I can't move. No, this is not working. So I got off of every board that I was on and was only on one. And then the Community College of Philadelphia reached out for me to be on the foundation board, and I just got off of that. So I don't feel the need to be, and I'm telling you all this so that you can recognize this. Just because people ask you to do things, if it doesn't align with what that does with your life, if you're exhausted all the time, it's time to say no, right? Time to move on and do the thing. Do the things that make you feel good. So I do the Team Jamaica Bickle. I will show up for quietly help a ton of people. But what I also do is at least one day a week I take off. One day a week. At least one day a week. And on that day I go grab Denise and I say it's Friday. And we get in the car and you have to rejuvenate yourself. And also, let me be very clear with all of you. I've had this conversation with my friends, and I'm going to tell you here, there are days when I feel like I haven't accomplished much. That self-doubt is something. And so my husband gets frustrated with me when I say I don't feel like because it says, well, you didn't do this, and you didn't do that, and you didn't do that. Well, none of us can do everything. None of us. And it's very difficult to sit in a space where you feel like people are expecting things for you. And that this is sister, this keeps reaching out to me on Facebook, wanting me to do a fundraiser for her because she's living in Georgia. Well, here's the thing. When you are a public figure, I don't know her personally. I cannot get on and do a fundraiser. What if there's something there that may cause an issue that I may end up falling back on me because I was the one that used my name to do the fundraiser? I need people to understand that I can share your story, but I can't. I am not the catch all be all for all the things that are going on out here. I just cannot. And so, in order to protect my peace, and to make sure that I am not falling apart. I'm in the gym. I go to the doctor. I make sure I'm hydrating. I do things that bring me peace. Gardening brings me peace. Any stuff like that. I want you all to think about peace and stop trying to fit in everybody's box. When there are balls and this and that, I look at social media and I smile and I say, oh, God bless them. At every event, every weekend, it speaks to what is it that I can't, I'm missing, that I feel like I have to show up for everything. It's okay to say no. Normalize saying no. All my friends know I am sleeping by 7 p.m. I'm not playing. Tiffany came to pick up something yesterday. I was sleeping. It was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon because I'm up at 3 o'clock every morning. Please, y'all, normalize saying it's okay. People would laugh at me and say, why are you sleeping at 8 o'clock? The party's just beginning. Well, my party is in my dreams, so I can stay healthy and well, because I know the spaces where I am going into and the things that I have to do. I need you all to get there. I do. I really do. Monica says, I just love Ira. He went to high school with my daughter. I remember when he was a skinny little teen. Yes, transformational. Laverne says, Team Capricorn. Yep. Monica says, life transforms through, oh no, life transforms through authentication. Words of the day. I forgot to, I'm going to miss this thing is not going to go up on Instagram. I forgot to stop it because I only get an hour on my page and I forgot to stop it. Gail says, thank you for having Erica. Of course, Gail. Absolutely. Laverne says, I have been going away every weekend a month to do nothing. Yes. I went this past weekend to sleep because last week was long and restless. I got home last night and had about 3 hours of sleep, shaking my head. And that's the other thing. As I move and go to different places, like if I'm traveling, you will not see it on social media anymore. My husband and I have traveled and we just never shared, right? I think people watch us too to see, where we are and what we're doing. And for me in particular, I have to be incredibly careful. She says, I have to get real intentional about getting the rest I need. Otherwise, my brain is constantly on go. I have to turn it off. Tiffany says, I saw your limes and strawberries yesterday. They're growing nicely, right? Laverne says, that part, I got over the fear of missing out. I never had the fear of missing out, child, please. And that's where the authenticity comes in. You don't need to be in those spaces all the time, taking pictures, doing all the things. Just be yourself. Be who you are, right? Because it at some point is going to work itself out. And if you're supposed to be in a room, you will be in the room. If you're not supposed to be in the room, yeah. Jasenia said, yes, this weekend I had 3 events on Saturday. After church Sunday, I took 5 hours to rest. What did I do on Saturday? I'm trying to think, Jasenia. Oh, I think I had a couple things to do. I went to go see. No. On Saturday, after I went to the gym, a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, you all know her, so I'm not going to say her name. Every 2 months, we go and get a body scrub, right? And then we go have lunch and we get caught up. That's a part of taking care of myself. And then I went to go see Copy, Paste, and Repeat. And then on Sunday, I listened to church online and began painting, right? Because that brings me a modicum of peace. So just figure out the things that work for you and stop worrying about what everybody else think you should do. It really makes a difference in your lives, okay? I love you all dearly. It's 7:33. I'm going to get out of this cute little dress and this cute little hat and go figure out what I want to do today. Take care of yourselves. Be authentic. And if your authenticity doesn't match with the people who want it, then go somewhere else. It's okay, right? This is it. You don't have to fit into everybody's box, and you're not meant to steep in every teacup. Remember that. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.